The film Flubber stars the hilarious Robin Williams, who soars onto the screen as the innovative but forgetful scientist Philip Brainerd.
Science to me is, I have a great deal of respect for them. They have a wonderful kind of, the few that I've met have an amazing ability to seem to be functioning in two dimensions simultaneously, talking, trying to talk, to have a normal conversation, but you realize that they're going, I must go now, I have other, I think, that ideas are pulsing through them. I'm getting married Friday, 6:30 p.m.
You're not getting married, period. You missed it. It's 6:30 in the morning.
I think basically his focus is not just science, but it's Sarah.
Sarah is the professor's sweetheart, played by Marcia Gay Harden. Although she's in love with her forgetful fiancé, there's a problem. He's forgotten to show up at the altar a few too many times.
She's been in love with the absent-minded professor forever, and they've tried to get married several times, but every time that she plans a wedding, he doesn't show up.
This is the reason I didn't make it last night. It's Flubber. Flubber! If it weren't for his love for her, I think he'd be, extremely focused.
The movie opens with a very important day for this professor who has to be at the church in time. Unfortunately, he makes a very, very big discovery.
The discovery is a wild new substance. It's green, rubbery, and gel-like. So naturally, the professor calls it Flubber.
You're foldable. You're gullible. Oh, right. Here's the other thing. In most science, when you read about great discoveries, most of them are accidents, especially in the case of the Sandoz laboratories in Switzerland. But for those playing the home game, there was a scientist walking home one day after basically some bread spores, and and on the way home, he was covered in mice. Wow! This certainly is we're not in Kansas anymore. And I believe, by controlling the gamma radiation flux, we can control the movement of the flubber itself. Something that happened by adding the organic element. He combined his polymer, and boom, he'd found something different. It's working! It worked! The science of it is a little thin, but the possibilities are there. It can morph into anything. It can change, the response to rhythm, sound.
Chris McDonald plays Wilson Croft. He has a few encounters of his own with the gooey flying stuff.
It's a green glob of goo, and it's going to be cute and adorable, and kids will love it, basically. We'll want to carry it around and throw it and make balls out of it.
When the professor leaves Flubber alone and goes to the basketball game, Flubber does this amazing mambo solo dance in the living room. Accidentally hits a record player, which starts this great Latin dance, and Flubber's inspired by the rhythm and goes into this amazing blend of all sorts of different classic musical numbers.
Sure, the little green guy is cute and adorable, but he also likes to cause some trouble.
He's just a bit of an adolescent, and he's curious. He doesn't get out much, but when he does, he, causes some problems.
I'll be right back.
Now, when you see Flubber, this is the man that makes you laugh harder than just about anybody else in the film. Did you have fun making the movie? Ben Brock is here. Now, kind of tell him what happens to you in the movie.
Well, it flies in my room, and I get real scared, and I sit up in bed, and I take my ray gun out, and then Robin Williams, I think that he sits at the door and he says, sorry, first time flying.
What, was Robin funny on the set? Was he fun to work with? What about the Flubber? Did you ever get to touch any of it?
No, but that's cool. It's computer animated, but now they're getting out something, right?
Yeah, so you and I are going to get some for sure. Kind of like these cool shoes, right?
Yep.
Kind of do the scream for me, because he's going to be famous for his scream. Can you do it for me one time? Do your little scream.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm ready. Hang on. Okay, go. See, kid's going to be a star. We'll be right back with more of that Disney magic and find out how Flubber just exploded onto the big screen. Tell him not to go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere, because we're coming right back.
And are you having trouble finding good help? Well, this guy does windows and more. We'll tell you how he's able to work so hard. Plus, lots of laughs ahead with the Flubber King himself, Robin Williams.
Yes, indeed. Yeah!
implementing Plan B.
Hey, welcome back to E's 1 hour behind-the-scenes look at Flubber. Now, here she is, the love interest of Professor Brainerd, Marcia Gay Harden. Tell me about Sarah. What kind of lady is she?
Well, first of all, she's very hopeful. Can we just say she's been left at the altar 3 times? She better be hopeful.
That takes a hopeful woman, yeah. Maybe too hopeful.
That's right.
Now, before the camera started rolling here, we were playing on the, it's not your normal, like, green carpet. It's kind of...
No, it's really cool.
Like,
it's squishy. Flubber.
And I'm glad you got your free shoes. Aren't those nice? The official Flubber wear. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
If only I can bounce all over, right?
Right. Okay, tell me about Sarah. She's very hopeful.
Yeah, she's really hopeful, and she's completely in love with the professor, and she's his love interest. I'm kind of the emotional base of the film. I'm the sort of the straight woman to Robin Williams.
Right.
You know, it's not as much fun as getting in his sandbox and being crazy and playing around.
Right. How was that being the straight woman?
It's it's great because you get to hang out with him. The cool thing about Robin is he sort of like opens the door and he says, "Come on in and play." And even though I know my job is not to do that, my job is to be like really straight. I'm like, I'm coming in. It's more fun. I'm coming in.
Well, Robin does anything and everything, or I should say Professor Brainerd does anything and everything to get her to be even more hopeful, to give him one more try. And he does it with a little help from his flying Thunderbird, of course.
That's right.
And from Flubber.
That's cool. We're like a T-bird that totally flies.
Watch this.
Romeo and Juliet. There's a wonderful romance to this. I think when you see that 63 T-bird flying in the clouds, it's a sexy, wonderful car. It's beautiful. It's also at the kind of the core of something deeply human to want to fly. I mean, I love flying.
Well, we're off the ground, people. We're flying. 3 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. I need an altimeter. This is fabulous.
I'm not afraid of flying. I'm afraid of falling. It's that 30,000-foot drop that really bothers me.
Come on. Easy. Oh, sorry. First time flyer.
A little Disney wizardry and some careful maneuvering allowed Robin and his Thunderbird to soar through the sky.
We came up with this idea of using a motion base that had been exclusively used for training for simulators. It was used as a motion-based simulator for airline pilot training.
A specially designed model of the car was also used during filming.
Let's take it on its side.
Right.
For close-up shots, Williams sat in a car seat that was mechanically controlled. Here, the background is a blue screen, but this is what you'll see in the movie.
Right turn.
The idea of once you're up, it's like, oh my God, the feeling of that, and the idea of, defying gravity, or, like jumping, or that'll be extraordinary. If all that works, and then at the heart of it is a sweet love story with a couple of different relationships at the core of it.
And a couple of twists, too. When the unsuspecting professor arrives at Sarah's house, he's greeted by another man trying to make the moves on his girl.
He'll even go after his girl. He's a fetching leader of a college, the rival college.
He's like the guy that if you're in love with someone else, you don't really want to kiss, But like here comes your face and you're like, you just don't want to go there. And so there's this little rivalry going on.
Meanwhile, a pair of thugs are out for revenge after the professor flunks a student who just happens to be their boss's son.
We're Smith & Wesson.
Whoa!
Are you all right? We're like bad guys. Well, we're not really bad guys. We're some sort of like somewhere between a gangster and a flying monkey.
I play Bennett Honecker, the son, the shiftless, lame, spoiled and sour, dumb as a stump is how the script describes him, son of Ray Berry's character. I have a science requirement, you morons!
Quiet. We'll have to get the F changed to an A.
Won't work. This guy, he doesn't live in the real world. He has principles. Bennett flunks the professor's course and just wants to buy his grade, which, apparently is a long-standing tradition in his family.
Smith & Wesson are the expediters of the plot. In the ploy of Chester Honecker. Whatever anybody else doesn't want to do, you call Smith & Wesson.
Now, Will Wheaton's on his way to the world premiere. Let's check in with Will and see how he's handling that New York City traffic.
Hi, I'm Will Wheaton. I play Bennett Honecker in Walt Disney Pictures' Flubber. We're on our way to the premiere. I am taking my girlfriend Anne with me to the premiere, and we're currently in the limousine, gridlocked in New York City traffic, and we'll see you there. Back to you, Todd.
Well, we wrangled them up. We've got the bad guys. Ted Levine and Clancy Brown are here. Now, basically, to make a long story short, you're trying to steal the secret. And it just backfired.
That's right. We're just trying to do our job. We're just trying to do our job. We're not bad guys.
What can you tell me about working on the set with Robin and the whole cast?
It was horrible. Robin's a miserable human being.
A horrible influence on you guys?
Just imagine yourself like being chained to in the improv for 3 months. Yeah, right. You have,
Why don't you guys do us a favor? Can you throw us to commercial break?
Yeah. Now comes a commercial.
More from the big behind-the-scenes Flubberfest in New York City after this. The bad guys. And we'll talk to the master of fun, Robin Williams. Welcome back to E-Special, 1 hour behind-the-scenes look at the Disney film Flubber. Now, this guy is no stranger to anyone. He's like a good bad guy. You love to hate him. Christopher McDonald, who plays Wilson in the film. Tell me about this guy.
Well, he's a capitalist pig. He's a guy who steals from Professor Brainerd, played by Robert Williams, the whole time, and then he steals a girl.
Oh, you're chasing a girl. You're chasing his secrets. You know, what was it like working with Robin?
Yeah, pretty much insane. You raise to his level. You rise to his level of like energy and brilliance, and once you get a couple of good takes, then we start playing. And we start doing that. Whoa, you're working with Robin.
Do that again for me.
I tell you, whoa. Yeah, so it's pretty wild, and it was absolutely a dream. I used to love going to the set every day and working with him. He's Robin.
Now, like I said, you and I saw the film for the first time just the other night. When you saw it, that was the first time you've seen the finished product. What did you think? Were you proud? I noticed you were laughing hysterically at a couple parts.
I was laughing. My first vision of Flubber was like, oh my God, how have they done that?
Right.
What did they do? I mean, it's just amazing. Because all we had was like the glot, and whoa, there it is, like this, and playing along with our imaginations, but actually singing how great it turned out computer-wise was a testament to like the great technological stuff that we've got. That's why this movie should have been remade.
Now, did you see the original? Are you a fan of the original?
Yeah, I love the original.
How would you describe the differences between the two?
God, it's night and day. It's there's no wires in the basketball sequence. It's all tremendous imagination and tremendous groundbreaking technological advancement. So it's the coolest. The other thing I loved about, the only reason to remake it is because of how far we've come with technology, and they didn't let us down, man.
Dude, let me just say this again. Your scene at the end of the movie.
I was so relieved I got the biggest one. God.
Christopher McDonald, you love to hate him.
Thank you.
Flubber.
Oh, boy. Robin Williams always brings his special blend of talent to each of his film roles. Whether it's on or off screen, Williams is in rapid-fire form.
I'm waiting for you. Be very, very afraid.
He is a comic genius, and his mind is always rattling off what's funny and what's political and what's cynical. I mean, he's just a genius that way.
Mr. Williams, one day I know you'll be sticking to a scoreboard. That's why you're being trained, Mr. Williams. Forget Shakespeare. Forget all those other things. I want you to jam your cranium into a scoreboard.
One of the major reasons I chose to do this part is I have a fascination with science.
Trigger the metastable reaction, which releases the energy that passes the flubber. I believe that's a lot more scientific.
I remember Einstein saying, ooh, it's all about relatives.
Mr. Turnholm said I should come and discuss metastable states with you. Metastable states like Arkansas, Tennessee, Indiana.
Robin's improvisational abilities are extraordinary.
Welcome to Macy's!
In between every take, there's a monologue that just comes out of thin air. Nothing's rehearsed. It's just kind of like, give me an idea.
Hello, I'm Marcel Marceau. Welcome to our institute. If you have been doing things like walking in the wind, seeing a wall, or simply picking a flower when there's nothing there, call us. A mime is a terrible thing to waste.
All right. And action, please. Director Les Mayfield knew the brilliant comedian was a hard worker, but he soon discovered that Robin Williams was a man with a high tolerance for pain.
The only time Robin complained was in the movie I can remember. He said, Les, come here. I think we have to stop. We had him on the rig, the wire rig. I said, why? He goes, I'm bleeding. I said, oh my God. He said, no, I think it's going to show. That's the only reason. It's not like, well, I'm bleeding. It's like, well, it might seep through my shirt.
My shoes melted down. I'm dancing and screaming all over this town.
You talk about energy. The man can do it, I'll tell you that much. He's incredible, and that's why he's such a huge success, because he's one of a kind.
The laughs certainly keep flowing with Robin Williams. As for playing the role of the professor, well, he's happy to be able to impart some scientific wisdom.
In the end, it's entertainment, but if you can come away with maybe a little knowledge that science is extraordinary, that's great.
Funniest thing is, I thought this was just some guy standing in my light. I thought he was like security.
Some guy basically going, please, sorry, I'm working for the Flubber premiere, thank you. Back up wearing the chemical glasses, Dale.
All right, man. Tell me what it was like working with the green stuff or working
with the goo?
Yeah, with the goo.
The sound of mucus, buddy.
It's beautiful.
Well, really?
That's a poetic way to say it.
That's a beautiful.
I like that.
It's beautiful.
That was really
beautiful.
nice.
You said it all without going blue.
Like we're sharing a moment here together.
Oh, without a meal.
Now, they tell everybody in the film is just telling me that, we were in Robin's sandbox with this one. We were just kind of following his lead.
Sounds like a bad children's show. Hi, welcome to my sandbox. Oh, Mr. Kitty's been here.
What's the difference between this one and the original? I mean, what can folks that go see it now
Basically,
expect?
the bottom line is that Flubber's a creature. It's a little gooey man. I mean, you've seen him with the wonderful the rounded Elvis, the later years,
right.
that lovely eggplant shape. That's one of the differences. The second difference is instead of a Model T, it's a 1962 Thunderbird. Great car. Those who've had one remember. And also, last thing is, instead of a dog and I guess he had a maid at the old time, there's a robotic assistant.
Named Weebo.
And another one named Weber.
Who really has the hots for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of an electronic Electra thing.
I mean, she is a female. What can we expect, right?
Wow. It's not the size of the hard drive, it's how you download.
Amen. Robin Williams, Professor Brainerd.
God bless you, sir. Thank you. Don't be afraid.
Just stay out of his way. He's wearing a SWAT team outfit.
Please, back up. Stay away from the premise, people.
Still to come, a behind-the-scenes peek at Professor Brainerd's crazy inventions. And lots more ahead from the New York City Flubber Party. The coverage taken care of all out there. Look at this. E! Online is live right now with Ted Casablanca, the man who knows it. Hi, Ted. Let's go to my camera, Ted. Tell us. Oh. Now, you've been talking to the people live on the web. See, we're on TV here, on the internet here. This is pretty cool. What have you found out? Any behind-the-scenes good stuff here regarding Flubber? Like, what's it made out of? Did they get in Flubber pies?
It's Gatorade and Play-Doh, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I tasted it until they hit me for saying, don't eat the Flubber. But there's a lot more going on inside Professor Brainerd's house than just the Flubber.
Hey, Professor, we've got to move up a little to the camera guy.
And you watch this. We'll show you exactly what's in the house. I have to go talk on the web now. Watch this.
When I exit this window, I will fall to the ground. When I hit the ground, the Flubber will send me right back up unharmed. Watch. Ta-ta, my love.
Are you nuts?
This absent-minded professor, played by Robin Williams, has a lot more in his bag of tricks than just Flubber. His house is a virtual cornucopia of crazy contrivances.
It is that idea that, he creates all these different inventions in his house to kind of take care of, the basic things.
Among those basic things is a fully automated kitchen. Here, coffee is always freshly ground, flapjacks are snapped, and the eggs are really cracked. And housework is tackled by a robot named Weber, who's armed with such futuristic tools as a duster and a mop.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Weber. Hey, a little higher, please. Thank you.
Even Weber, who's a prototype for Weebo, was designed to do housework, but doesn't do it very well. because he has a malfunctioning program.
And who oversees the professor's contingent of contraptions? Well, her name is Weebo, a new component in this Disney remake, and a bit of a contraption herself.
Well, Weebo is a unique character in the movie. Another great idea from John Hughes is Weebo is the professor's companion.
I play this character of Weebo, and she is bright yellow.
Weebo is a robot who owes her voice to the talents of actress Jodie Benson, who's also known as the voice of the Little Mermaid in the Disney animated feature.
She has tons of personality. She's very funny, and she keeps the professor in tow.
He's programmed these things to take care of his life. I mean, even Weebo is, the ultimate personal assistant that way.
She runs the house. She runs his schedule. She's his right-hand robot.
Everyone has those little pocket organizers. Well, she does everything. Organizes and, reminds.
She cleans house, keeps track of his appointments, and is also his best friend. He created her to be the ultimate roommate.
Weebo had the luxury of being both computer-generated and hand-operated by puppeteers.
We utilized Steadicam technology, so we actually hired a Steadicam operator and made him a puppeteer.
The Steadicam device usually holds a camera and provides fluid moving shots without bumps. It's this device that allowed Weebo to become an on-set actor. However, Flubber is a purely computer-generated effect and therefore never appeared on set. We'll have more on Flubber's effects later.
Where are you going?
But when it came to Weebo, Robin Williams was, in most cases, able to interact directly with the robot.
The bottom part here is a kind of a bellows system, and this down here is the levitation area.
David Nixay is the film's executive producer.
Where she's got 3 different little turbine jet fans that are in a rotating ball and socket arrangement so that she can keep that always moving, keep herself in flight.
She's much more than just a talking calendar. Weebo can fly.
She's got these air flaps on the side, which when she flies fast, she can brake herself in the air.
Weebo can take pictures.
Smile!
And Weebo's got a heart, especially when it comes to the professor.
She cooks dinner, organizes the other robots in the house, and the only unique thing is she's kind of in love with the professor.
Because she just loves him to death, that kind of comes out in her personality. A little heartsick.
A major part of any motion picture is what you hear. Flubber's high-energy scenes and mambo sequences required a special touch. Composer Danny Elfman knew just what he needed to keep Flubber hopping.
Never want to hear them again.
When it comes to the amazing task of scoring a film, composer Danny Elfman makes it all look easy.
Yeah, connect it as much as you can.
But it's not that simple.
We're going to do it one more time.
There are the recording sessions, the endless rehearsing, and the small changes that make it all come together in the end.
Okay, got that?
Play the cues from 42.
Louise on the flute. I'm sorry, the piccolo. 28. Can you make it a little nastier sounding? Can you flutter a little bit?
Look at the movie, come up with music. It's just kind of like, I don't really go in with any system.
Although the talented composer claims there's no method to his music making, you simply need to listen to know he's a master.
Every score's got to have at least one theme, usually 2 or 3. Yeah, that'll usually be the first thing I come up with.
The scoring of a film can change the mood and feel of any particular scene. Where Robin takes to the skies, the composer changed themes several times.
There's actually 4 pieces of music for that scene. The first part is just more like kind of a fun piece of score. The second part is a mambo. And then the third scene is a little more ethereal. He's flying through the clouds, and that gets more orchestral. And the final scene just gets real crazy.
To give you an idea of how much the scoring can influence a scene, here's how the mambo dance would appear without music. And now with the music. And it all starts here with the musicians, sound engineers, and composer Danny Elfman.
That's the one.
Next up, how some high-tech wizardry created the little bundle of goo, Flubber.
This is pretty much Flubber doing a little dance.
Plus, Will Wheaton takes us behind the scenes with Chris McDonald at New York City's gala party.
Really, that's not a bad little thing, too. You just show the world of our sneakers.
Yeah, look, we got these cool shoes.
Flubber is flying rubber with a little bit of Robin's DNA in him to boot.
If Robin Williams had an elastic counterpart, it might look like Flubber.
And working with me is a bit like saying, okay, we're going to use mercury. Why doesn't it stay in one place? Damn it, it keeps flowing over the side and has no shape.
A little ticklish.
Oh, one thing is certain. Flubber has changed a lot since the original absent-minded professor.
Flubber then was merely Flubber, was merely a substance. It had no personality. It certainly had no will. And about all it could do was bounce.
The new Flubber is a result of major advances in effects technology.
The movie couldn't have been made 4 years ago. The idea of giving Flubber personality actually had to be executed, and the only way to do it was to have the computer-generated Flubber.
Flubber was a tremendous challenge to create, and ILM deserves the credit.
It was here at ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, where that little bundle of goo was born.
Tom Pertino was our Flubber man. He's the ILM supervisor who was actually on the set with me anytime we were working with Flubber.
We were on the set all the time that photography was happening that would involve Flubber.
And he had a small plastic representation of what Flubber would look like as far as size, color, density.
Scott Liebrecht is Flubber's visual effects art director.
These little hard models were made basically to give us a physical basis of reality with this character.
Many models were made, each displaying the many moods of Flubber.
That would allow us to at least get lighting references and size and eyeline references.
So that we can say, okay, this is exactly what it would look like if it could move, if it were alive.
And thanks to Robin Williams, it looks like Flubber is very alive and very real. But in fact, Robin is staring at nothing.
Robin is such a great mime. And I think you will believe that substance had weight. Was it actually on the set? You'll believe that he actually had it in his hand.
Here's a blank background plate of Robin, and you can see how well he's acting against nothing. And the final version of the shot as it appears in the film.
Flubber's design began with rather unlikely sources of inspiration.
Flubber? Sounds like baby shampoo.
For art director Scott Liebrecht, shampoo was a good place to start.
I personally, on the way to work, stopped at the supermarket and picked up every shampoo, hair gel, anything that was translucent, that had bubbles in it, that had sparkles in it, anything that kind of had that gooey, Flubber, transparent quality.
Soon, Flubber had that squeaky clean look.
Now here's an early test of the Flubber with all its proper materials on it.
We never wanted Flubber to form a face and speak with lips or anything like that. He needed to still retain that blob-like quality.
The next step meant planning every scene with detailed storyboards.
Because we're animators, there's no way that we can actually start until we have some kind of visualization of what Flubber is going to be doing in the shot. This is where the actual Mambo scene begins.
Well, this first shot is the kickoff shot for the Mambo dance sequence.
This is pretty much Flubber doing a little dance as he first emerges into his
human form, or his dancing Flubber form, his hero Flubber.
We actually have improv and acting classes for animators, and we had mambo classes. We actually had a mambo instructor with the puffy sleeves and the whole thing come in and teach us how to do the dance so that we could get the moves right for the animation.
All along, the film's creative team knew that Flubber needed more than just a fresh look. Flubber needed a personality.
Flubber's personality has been variously described as an adolescent boy with an attitude.
Oh, bless you.
He actually has an attitude and thought processes. He's a little cheeky.
They made it look easy. It's an extremely complex process to animate this three-dimensional, spherical, gooey kind of substance.
This is just a piece of test animation we turned out to prove to ourselves we could do what needed to be done.
Anytime we're shooting with Flubber, we'd have to do 3 passes.
Each of these effect sequences are composed of at least 3 separate elements. The first is considered a reference pass.
The second will be a clean plate, which means the actor would step away and we just shoot the background without anyone in it.
So here is a wireframe in the soft image environment. This is what the animator sees while he's working. Here's a wireframe test coupled with the live action plate, the background. And this is the final shot with the fully rendered Flubber with his skin on, lights, reflections, and all the bells and whistles.
And the result is a new Flubber with a contagious energy that's got the whole house hopping.
Flubber's a huge effects movie, but the idea is to create a world where these effects feel part of the story and not ancillary to the story. We're not making a movie about effects, we're making a movie that contains effects.
Coming up on Behind the Scenes, we'll find out why a memorable scene from the original Absent-Minded Professor almost didn't survive the Disney remake. And later, we'll take you to Flubber's gala party. Everybody, welcome back to E's special 1-hour behind-the-scenes look at Flubber. I'm Todd Newton at LaGuardia High School for the Performing Arts in New York City, also known as the Fame High School, the high school from Fame. Just a little trivia there. Another piece of trivia for you is this. There's one pivotal sequence in the original Absent-Minded Professor that almost didn't make it into Flubber. Let's take a look at that scene right now.
I think John always knew the game belonged, and Robin saw the opportunity and thought we were really losing an opportunity. He was right. We really needed to have that set-piece game.
In the old movie, it was hysterical, and that's why I fought to keep it in this movie, because I think it'd be wonderful.
It was a scene that, because of cost and complexity, almost ended up on the cutting room floor.
The idea of shooting a game like the one that was written required, we had to build a stadium.
Okay, background action!
The basketball game, where the underdogs get a little help from Flubber.
You can do it. Come on, Bruce. There we go. Runner, be a flying squirrel.
It's like the typical sports thing of like the little guys getting their revenge.
It's probably the most fun is saying, okay, let's build our own basketball arena.
They're going to score here. All right. They're going to score here, right? Kick the ball, pass it to me. They're going to pass to you, and then you just start dribbling at the foot this way.
The idea of updating, because everyone remembers the game from the first movie. It was a real set piece. So we had to say, okay, if we're going to do it, we got to do it bigger, better, and funnier.
Stand by, very quiet. Here we go. And roll, please.
First, he tests Flubber. Before he's going to put on the kid's shoes, being a good inventor and a considerate person, he takes the Flubber out for the first test run.
The joy of it is when you're flying, you're bouncing up, you get the sensation of what it would be like if you were, bouncing back and forth, where you can keep going. I mean, it's frightening maybe for the first second, and then it's just like sheer fun.
finally, the professor tests Flubber on the team.
Field Squirrels tonight are getting their nuts buried, trailing by 51 at intermission. If Coach Barker has any sense, he has to be thinking forfeiture. Score half number 2.
To have 5,000 people come to our stage every day and, you know, watch these guys bounce around, it was a lot of fun.
Extras had to be corralled. The game had to be carefully choreographed. And camera setups had to be precisely coordinated. But the results are dramatically impressive. Coming up, get ready to party. We'll take you behind the scenes of Flubber's blowout celebration in New York City. Plus, a star-studded audience tells us what they think about Flubber.
I thought it was very funny. Marching Express and the kids. This was great. We had a great time.
Lots of laughs, lots of good slapstick. Robin Williams, stellar as always. Always so great and so human and so fun to watch and so funny. And the green thing, you know, it's just it's the best performance by a piece of green goo I've ever seen in my life.
It's awesome. It's so funny. It's so great. It was very nerve-wracking at first to kind of watch it, you know, to see what lines they're going to pick for Weebo. But she's adorable. I just fell in love with her.
I just thought it was great. I like my part.
And after the film, those in the know headed for the party. There was plenty of Flubber to go around. That's the stuff. There was posing in front of the Flying Thunderbird. There was time for scientific inquiry. And time for the less scientific Flubber toss. And there were edibles in green. But don't try this at home. Well, it's been a big night here in New York City for the premiere of Flubber. We want to thank Robin Williams and the rest of the cast of the film, everybody at Disney, and most of all, you for watching. We're out of time, so I'm not ready to hit the party, but just remember this. You can do whatever you want with Flubber. Just don't eat it. I'm Todd Newton. We'll see you again here on Behind the Scenes.